Hey guys, today I'm talking to my mom and dad. They've been through a lot trying to help over the years. Let's get their perspective on some things surrounding the journey around my emetophobia. And for some background info, I'm the youngest of three. My brothers are 9 and 2 years older than me, and they went all over to their sports and activities pretty much since I was born. What were some of the hardest or most confusing things to understand about my behavior when I was younger?
I guess in first grade. I don't think she missed a day of kindergarten, but first grade she started getting belly aches in the morning, and then second grade I remember you saying the school bus smelled and didn't want to go on the school bus.
Yeah, through these years, days were good and bad, but I feel like the good days outnumbered the bad.
Third grade, when she was in the school play and played the drums. That was her first musical instrument. And she played in the winter show for the students the first day, but then when the parents came on the second day, she wouldn't go on stage. Then fourth grade, she was seeing the counselor at school, and she told her that it would be easier for her if she were in heaven. So then we were basically forced to go to the ER.
Yeah, I remember just wanting to be home near my mom and get away from the scary feeling. I thought if I was in heaven, I could just watch my mom and be happy. I didn't want to hurt myself, but I only heard about my grandpa who died before I was born, so I didn't really know anything about it. And I got lucky then. 5th and 6th grade were affected by COVID, and school was more just home.
In 7th grade, she did start some OCD behaviors, washing her hands excessively. She started having strict eating schedules and shower and sleep schedules, very rigid. She was very kind of a loose kid otherwise, so these things were a little confusing to me. She also started a new soccer team, played the fall pretty well, but by spring she started not wanting to go to practice or go to games, and then she would shut herself in her room and say she had stomach aches. Then 8th grade came. She did join a soccer team, an indoor league. The first couple of games she did great, played really well, scored a lot of goals, and then a few games in she started not wanting to do that. We would drive there, and then she would just stay in the car. And school really started to become an issue. Just stopped wanting to go and cry. So again, all these things confusing.
Dad, at the time, did you think it was a phase or something that I'd grow out of?
It seemed like much more than just a normal phase that every kid goes through in childhood. I thought it was severe nerves or anxiety, but none of my positive words or ideas on coping seemed to help. I had dealt with some anxiety going off to college myself, but I could not relate exactly to Leah's struggles or her behaviors. I thought perhaps social media or her young age had something to do with this, but I did not have any seemingly good answers for her. As a parent, it was very painful to watch as she deeply struggled through most normal daily activities.
When I was really little, I liked school and I was told I was smart. I didn't really understand why I didn't want to do things. I mean, I knew the bus smelled bad and made my stomach hurt. Most of it was really just that my stomach hurt and it wouldn't go away. Later, I think I knew, but I didn't know it was a real thing or that there was an actual name or help I could get. And then once the avoidance behavior started, they just got worse and worse and worse. What changed in your understanding once you realized this was a real diagnosable phobia, not just anxiety?
I heard phobia for the first time when we were in the ER, again in 8th grade, and the nurse practitioner asked Leah to look up 3 disorders related to the stomach, anorexia, bulimia, and emetophobia. And so we went home, she went online, and she said, nope, not the first one, not the second one, but this third one, emetophobia. She seemed to check all the boxes. But it didn't seem real to me. I've never heard it. It sounded silly.
Even though I knew I had emetophobia, it didn't make sense that I couldn't do anything. Everything scared me, not a little, but severely. I had to leave school for a while and got a different therapist, started working with Mom with Cares. I had to fight the urges to avoid and just stay safely in my house. I slowly got outside. I went inside a store, starting with just 5 minutes, then a restaurant, even if I just brought the food home. Each step led me to another step, and then another. All summer I started to see my old self, and I knew high school was coming. I really wanted to get better.
So then in high school, she was doing okay, starting high school, and I found a virtual therapist just for a check-in. And at the end of that session, the therapist asked, if you could change anything, what would it be? And you said, I want to feel normal and not scared all the time. Then I remembered emetophobia was the fear of vomit. So I started doing a deep dive. I did some research, found a podcast, read a book, and found out that triggers for this are everywhere. Sounds, smells, sights, germs, tastes. Like, how do you avoid all that? So we started to talk about it, Leah and I, and just understanding the scope of this and that you're fighting and trying to help others is amazing.
Dad, if you could go back and give advice to yourself during those harder moments, what would you say now that you understand more?
Well, what made the healing process much more difficult was the lack of an exact diagnosis by a medical professional and the lack of a true understanding of the specific anxiety disorder that you were going through, and not just some general anxiety.
I agree with you. I know I saw different counselors when I was younger, and they just thought being nice and letting me color or do breathing exercises were not helping. What do you think helped you understand what I was going through?
There is a book written specifically on emetophobia, which explains typical behaviors and therapy treatments for this specific phobia. There is also additional public information on the internet, social groups, and podcasts, all related to this specific phobia and its treatments. Knowing this very early on and accepting it as the truth, I could have delved deeper into learning more about this phobia and understood the best methods for treating it. Perhaps in this case, we could have shortened your overall healing process and lessened some of your suffering.
What do you want other parents to know if their child seems to be dealing with something similar, even if they don't have a name for it yet?
So there are many different elements to mental health. So I think working with a health professional is important if your child is struggling. But also, since you're with your child more hours than 1 hour a week of a session, you know them best. I would say if you see any signs of anxiety, keep a log. See the things that don't fit with their normal behavior. And then if you check boxes for emetophobia, like belly issues, OCD, reaction to vomit, coping mechanisms, then I would encourage you to find someone that is a specialist.
Yes, I think having both you and Dad understand and support what I was going through was a big step in my recovery. Thank you both for your understanding and for your help. Especially with younger children experiencing this, the recovery process starts at home. That's it for today. And remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is still a step forward. And one extra step can change everything. Thank you for listening.